can we just tease or speak a little bit about your book and whatever you're working on now, whatever you want to share?
Sure. So, I had been working on a book for 5 years, as you know, because there were many times where I reached out to you for support. And I finished it at the end of November, and I think it's going to be out in the spring. It's called The Language of Betterarchy. It's divided into three parts. So the basic allegation is that, for the past few years, we've seen this kind of like smash the patriarchy perspective and this idea that like white men have had their turn at the top long enough, and that the quote unquote solution to our cultural ills is to elevate previously marginalized groups to the top of the lung and kick the others to the curb. And my perspective is like, okay, rearranging the pieces of a broken game is not progress. It doesn't fix the game. And patriarchy is not the issue. The issue is hierarchy. Hierarchy is an organizational structure that requires there to be losers for there to be winners. So the first third of the book, or the first quarter of the book, is dispelling the myth of patriarchy and just like really blowing it up. And, I'm really leaning into the masculine feminine polarity, just because with cancel culture, I'm like, all right, well, I have two X chromosomes, so maybe the woke mob will allow me to on this. But I think the bigger issue is that, we hear, especially in the New Age community, like this nonsense about the return of the divine feminine. And I think people confuse that with, society is going to be better when chicks are in charge. And that really is not what is going on. What's going on is that we've had a culture that has elevated capital M masculine ways and means of doing and being. So logic and intuition have been elevated over emotion and intuition. We have all these realms of healing modalities and, alternative science that are cast aside as pseudoscience because they don't line up to, Western science or whatnot. And the gist is that we've all internalized all of these, which is why we have so many hyper-masculinized women, so many feminized men. So from my perspective, the return of the divine feminine is far more abstract than it is about like who's in charge and pay wage gaps and whatnot. So what I talk about in this book is how the issue is hierarchy, and hierarchy is sustained through language. It's not a physical thing with bricks and mortar. It's an abstraction that is sustained through our agreement and the hierarchical languaging patterns that have infused our lexicon that we're not even aware of. And it's really the genius behind, this ridiculous kind of matrix enslavement from which we're entangling ourselves, is that we do the overlord's bidding for them. We enslave ourselves with our every word. We are the ones who are fostering lack, limitation, fear, inequity, conflict with every word that comes out of our mouth.
We make it easy for them.
We do it all for them. So the second quarter of the book is educating people as to how our language is what is sustaining hierarchy and creating our whole reality construct. And then the last half of the book is illuminating the 10 categories of hierarchical languaging, so that we can start to recognize when we're speaking inequity, disempowerment, lack, limitation into our collective reality, and then very simple upgrades that allow us to speak what I'm calling betterarchy, because I don't claim to be a social engineer. I don't actually know what the next iteration of our culture is going to be. I know it's going to be a hell of a lot better than what we have now.
Nice. And to your point about, shitting on the white man, that Myron Fagan in 1967, people can go to archive.org and find the 2-hour. It's brilliant. He's quoting Israel Cohen, but they say outright that they will convince the dark races and put the dark races in positions of power in music and in sports and Hollywood, and instill them with this idea that they've been oppressed. I'm not saying they haven't by the white man, and then instill guilt into the white man and just straight up saying that is how we will bring America to our cause and in this communist agenda. So, this is a thing. And now I remember years ago when my ex was telling me that the white man is oppressed. And I didn't freak out on him or anything, but I was like, that's interesting, telling a brown woman that, but I did come to learn that I see it now. I was open to his truth. And now I see how, if you're whitey man bad, it's not to take away from the white man having had his way, or sorry, go ahead.
No, I mean, I just think in the game that we're playing now, we're all fucked over by oligarchy. And to give about these like tiny things is so missing the point, and it's distracting us from what's going on. Like, it's part of the reason, why my family and I rejected each other from the get-go. My family was really into the whole Zionist thing and how shitty Jews had it. And I'm like, that has nothing to do with my reality in 21st century America. And I'm not going to sign on to this. Like, I don't care about your grandparents' victim shit. I'm living in my here and now as a super empowered woman. And I think to continue to drudge the transgressions of the past and wear them like badges of armor is another trick the social engineers use to get us to disempower ourselves. We're the only ones who lose when we take on, the victim banner. It doesn't, it only serves the people who want to oppress us and want us to be disempowered and passive.
So I take it that you're not down with $5 million reparations from San Francisco.
No, reparations. Reparations do not make sense to me. I don't know what marginalized group you're part of, but let's just take like the slavery reparations. And I'm not going to pretend like slaves didn't have a raw deal, that African Americans or ADOS have a shitty deal in this culture. Like, I'm not blind to that. But no one on the planet today has owned slaves or was alive when that happened. And to get reparations for things that happened so long ago, it's like, just move forward. And also, as though like this weird thing just happened when I was having my meeting in town, I ran into this like beautiful, empowered, amazing woman who just DJ'd our last ecstatic dance. And she said, well, it's Black History Month, so I really fought to get every Black person into dance for free. And I'm thinking, like, why are you running the outdated narrative that Black people need your fucking pity or can't afford to get into dance?
Yeah.
What is that?
What is that? I mean, I think it's, I don't get it. I don't understand. I don't understand. It's failed. It's keeping the oppression going instead of empowering, but it's so sneaky that people won't recognize what's really going on.
Totally. One of my least favorite phrases is women-owned business. It's like, do not ghettoize my gender. Fuck that. I don't give a shit who owns the business. What is the product? What is the service? We're not a second-class citizen that needs you to throw us bones and to buy our products and services because you feel sorry for us because we're a little more pathetic than you. It's so lame.
I have never gone in anywhere because of being a woman or being a brown woman. I just want to say, for the record, nothing has ever been given to me because of that. And I say that because when I woke up and Chase had shut my business account down, and then someone said, "Hey, Maryam, did you look at the links between BLM and Chase, JP Morgan, Vanguard, Rothschild?" And they had invested $30 billion to eradicate racism by giving loans to minorities. And yet when I called and asked, well, how about my brown life? Nobody gave a crap. They couldn't give me a reason. It's just all posturing. It's all virtue signaling. And as I say, it's like whether you're wearing your face diaper or you have your cross just perfectly aligned. We don't have to say the name of who I'm talking about, but it's like just walk your talk and be the change that you want to see. That is what we need. We need more responsibility, people taking ownership of their own shit, and realizing that we're meant to have conflict, that this is how things come up, and with the right attitude, it's an opportunity to clear if we can take ownership of our own crap and not just project and bypass, right?
1000%. Hey, superstars, thank you so much for sharing your sacred attention with me. If you are receiving any value whatsoever from my videos, I am encouraging you to give back, to pay it forward by supporting me on my Patreon community, on my locals community, on both. Your support allows me to keep on keeping on and to keep making content like this. It used to be much easier back in the days of a free press, but now, given all of the censorship and the shadow banning, it really is challenging for content creators to continue to put out so much work. I'll just speak for myself. I'm excited for it to be easier for me to continue to put out more content. And the primary way that it can be easier is by you supporting me financially by way of my Patreon and or my locals, where for as little as $5 a month, you get to be my hero and receive oodles of bonus content, and we both get to win. Okay, thank you so much for your support, for your attention, and for being omniscopic amazingness.